Hey folks, welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com for Tuesday, November 13th, 2007. Well, Tuesday is over, and what can I say but wow, what a rally. And yes, it was an overdue rally, and I mean that's the basics of it when it comes down to it. We were due for a rally. I mean, the Nasdaq's down still 6.6% in the month of November, I believe. But today was a nice rally, and I love good rallies, and I'll tell you why. Because in many instances, you get stocks that are very, very oversold, and they're going to bounce. And when you can take advantage of those plays, whether it's in the intraday stock chat or whether it's as a swing trade in the swing trade alerts, then that's what it's all about. You just want volatility as an investor or a trader. Well, more so a trader. An investor is just long term, forever and ever, and I think that's the worst idea in the world, but, what do I know, obviously. But anyways, when it comes to a trader or a swing trader where you're playing stocks for month moves or 3-week moves or so forth, it's all about having volatility, because if things just continue to go up, you don't want to pay up in price. If I buy it today when it's up 20% for the year, how do I know we're not going to correct tomorrow when it's up 30% or whatnot? So the point being is volatility is what traders live for. When you see the markets get decimated like they have, it lets us, that are traders, and traders, by the way, are neither bull nor bear. We just call it how we see it. And yes, we've thought that the market should fall for quite some time, and it finally did. Well, guess what? Now we expected the bounce, and hopefully the bounce lasts for another day or so. Who knows? Who really knows? It's going to be up in the air. But we can get bullish now for a day or two and just buy, and then once we get the bounce, then we sell the positions, we go back to cash, and we wait, or we look for shorts for the next move down, and so forth. So that's what trading's all about in the intraday stock chat or the swing trade alerts or the options alerts. It's all about playing momentum trades on both sides of the market. In any case, you guys can find out information on that at InTheMoneyStocks.com under intraday stock chat, or email us, and you can always find out about it through email as well. Now, the Nasdaq climbed 3.5% today, up 89.5 points. Now, that's a great rally. Now, granted, we dropped about, yesterday we were down 43, the day before that, something like 70, and so forth. So, yeah, we're still down a huge amount, but you got to have these technical bounces, as I said before. The Dow was up 320 points, or 2.5%, and the S&P was up about 2.91%, or 42 points. Now, what's great about this market, and let's get right into it here in the charts, you can see the technical bounce on the Nasdaq. Now, why is this so intricate, and why was this a possibility of happening? Well, for starters, we hit the 200 moving average yesterday. Okay? That's number one. Super support area is always the 200. You always get a bounce off the 200 the first time, and that's the first time you hit it. It's very rare you do ever come down through the 200, and I should never say always, because there's going to be that 1% chance time where it doesn't bounce. But in general, when you're trading in a stock or a market, a stock is going to hit its 200. Maybe it goes a little bit below, but at some point it gets back above. You get that bounce. It's kind of like a pendulum. It swings one way, it hits its highest point on that side, then it swings back the other way. And that's what we got today in the Nasdaq and in all the markets, to be honest. So what you're seeing here again is a nice move in this direction, and we should see a possible. We have a possible another move up. And what I mean by that is just a day or two. I don't really hold out for more than that, because in this crazy market, we're in a pretty deep downtrend right now, and you can't expect the market to go back up here. All right? Yeah, you could see a market push back up to this point, which is the 50 moving average, but the 50 moving average, once it's been broken below, which we did do, we hit off the 200 here, and now we're bouncing back towards that. That would be resistance instead of support. Here it's support when you're above it. When you're below it, it's resistance. So if we do happen to move back up here, that might be the place where you say, okay, well, maybe that's where I sell my long positions on the bounce here. But what I do caution everyone against, and this is key, if you didn't go long early in the day today, or at least I should speak from my perspective. If I'm a trader and I didn't go long early in the day here, and now I'm thinking about buying stocks like Baidu, which bounced almost $40 today, that's ludicrous. Yes, it could bounce another $10, $20, of course. But you're paying up $40 from where you could have had it yesterday. And you gotta tell yourself that. You have to say that to yourself. And a wise trader always puts that in perspective and says, well, if I could have had it yesterday for this price and now I'm paying $40 higher, is that a smart move? Do you go to the store and say, well, yesterday milk was $2, now it's $4. Yeah, sure, I'll buy it. That looks great. No, you say, well, maybe tomorrow it's going to come back down $20, $1.50 on milk, and I'll buy it there. And that's the same mentality as a trader. It's like going shopping. I equate it perfectly with going shopping. You look for sales. You're not unless it's a fantastic product where you're saying, okay, I'll pay up for it. But let's be honest, there's nothing out there that consumers need or want. Maybe monopolies here and there, but for the most part, it's no. Now, one thing I want to point out on this chart is a possible M pattern here on the NASDAQ. And what are we forming here? The A, okay? So the bounce could be the A, then we complete the A with a move down. Let's say it comes up here, then we move down on the A, complete the MA pattern. And then at that point, we have to watch because we break below this 200 moving average, and that's when things can get ugly in this market. I happen to believe that if we should come down and break that low, now we might bounce at a double bottom there. We might get another bounce, a small bounce, a day bounce, should we come down, because it will be a little double bottom on the NASDAQ right there. But should we close below this 200 moving average here, well, guess what's in play then? We're going back probably towards this area, somewhere in this, between these two lines. I would have to believe that the market's going to, as would be the next support, okay? And I'd have to look back on the chart more time to exactly see where we'd have more solid support within this range, but at some point in this range would be the place. So you are looking at a nice hard fall there, but again, just like on the upside here, we kept on saying the NASDAQ hasn't hit its 20 moving average in a while, and then it did. On the downside, we stay the same thing. Again, traders are neither bull nor bear. We trade it how we see it, okay? So keep that in mind. That's the way it is. So at some point, this 20 moving average needs to be hit again. Now it's going to continue to move down like this. The market maybe bounces back up here, pulls back. At some point, they're going to connect again, touch, and then at that point, we reevaluate. Okay? But again, keep in mind you still have that M formation, which is an MA, which is a bearish formation in any chart you see. Okay? And the opposite would be a W. Oops, excuse me on that. Would be the W formation, and the V, which is a small V, and then it takes off to the upside. All right, W, V formation takes off to the upside. This is the reverse, and in many cases it takes off to the downside. So be a little careful here. I happen to think we're not out of the woods, although a lot of bad news has finally been absorbed into this market, which we kept on saying in previous videos over the last few weeks, that there's a lot of stuff, and we're still waiting for that shoe to drop. Well, the shoe finally dropped, at least the initial drop. I do at least think we do have one more move down, but, who knows? This market, it just never is out of the woods this quick. That's my only point here. Okay, well, let's look at the ES intraday, and we'll quickly go over that on the intraday. And you can just see all day buying. All day buying. There was really no pullbacks of any nature. You can see, and this is a good example here, but here's the trend line. You can take it any way you want it, but really, especially from here, this is where you really saw the markets just stay in the tightest of trends here. These lines are essentially parallel. I just drew them not quite on point here, but look at this move in the late afternoon. Ever since 1 o'clock, it was just constant squeeze up, and it's staying in this tiny little range here. And before that, we had a little fluctuation here intraday, but for the most part, it was just straight up. And I'm actually going to flip to the 60-minute to just see if we can see anything else. And I'm doing this with you guys live. I haven't actually looked over any of this material prior. So we'll see what we can find here on the, still the 10-minute there, 60-minute, and there we go. There's the 60-minute. Let me get rid of these. But you guys can see what a dramatic move we had up today. And of note, look at what I'm seeing just off the top of my head here. You have the 200 moving average on the 60-minute coming in play here, and we are a little bit below that, so maybe a gap up tonight, which is what I could see happening, folks, by the way. Keep that in mind, all right? And this is what I talked about in the chat room, too, is that you have a huge rally in the U.S. markets. Well, that's going to affect Asia. Tonight, Asia should rally big. The Hong Kong markets, the Hang Seng, which is China, and the Nikkei should be up big tonight. Well, in tune, that should possibly give us at least a gap up tomorrow. And keep that in mind. I'm only saying we're going to gap up should no news come out. Now, if Countrywide or Citigroup or one of these financial firms, drop another shoe on us, well, obviously we're going to fall. But meaning that all things considered equal, meaning nothing changes from now to then it's very possible we see a gap up tomorrow, or at least a flat open to positive open on the markets, based off of Asia's momentum, and at which point we can look for more plays on the Chinese area, which is what we will probably be doing tomorrow in the chat room. But in any case, notice here, I just want to point this out, you had a trend on the downside here, quickly drawing a trend in here. Notice the parallel lines on the 60-minute intraday, and this is the 60-minute chart, and you want to use all time frames to really get a good analysis. But just to extend this, and this is what I want to show you folks here. Notice how many times we hit, and I'm only going back a few days here. All right, here's the 9th, the 11th, the 12th and 13th, which is Monday, Tuesday here. But you hit the top of the trend line here, you hit it again here, you hit it again here, here, and then, this is the key, folks. Notice how we're in a sideways to up channel right here. Then we close above this trend line, and then look at the dramatic up move. All right, look at how the line changes on that breakout. Okay, you have a sideways move here, and then the breakout. So keep that in mind, folks, is that you always want to look at different time frames, because in this time frame, you can see this breakout very, very clearly. And on a side note here, you can see the stochastics got toppy here, pulled back a little, and they're toppy again here as the market is trading. And the futures did do about 2 million contracts today. And I'm going to go to the SPY chart here, and we're going to go back to the 10-minute. But one thing I want to point out, folks, is that volume was not that impressive today. Considering the size of this rally, it was not that impressive. All right, there's the SPY. I got to get going, guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.